Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snow Horse Marketing Podcast. Today, I have Andrew with me. He is the owner of GKL Environmental Consulting, an environmental consulting firm specializing in site. Ooh, you're going to help me with this.
Remediation.
Remediation, thank you. And due diligence. Fantastic. And then today, we're just going to be talking a little bit about marketing and positive team leadership. Thank you so much for being here today, Andrew.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I do appreciate it.
We've actually known each other for coming up on 6-8 months now, something like that.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and you've been great to work with, and I love learning from you. I know you've had a lot of more corporate experience, and now you've kind of cut out into the consulting world. So as you've gone through that transition, what have your thoughts been or experiences been with positive leadership?
Well, as you said, I've seen a lot of different leadership types. I've worked for companies large and small, as large as about 3,000 people. The small is about 35 people. And something that always resonated with me was a supervisor giving you, obviously, the tools to do the job that you need to do, but allowing you to do it. I've seen micromanagement. I've seen the incredibly hands-off style of management and the leadership, and a nice mix of the two, I have found to be kind of the most effective. It's a little different for me now, me being out on my own. I don't have your traditional staff, but working closely with different vendors, I kind of see their leadership style as well, and just try and do what I can to help out, to vendors and former colleagues who I still have very close relationships with, who still call me on a regular basis, asking me questions. And I think that spoke a lot to my leadership style as to where my door was always open. I know a lot of people say that, but my door was truly always open. And if I had work and had deadlines and my staff did as well, I always prioritized their work over mine. I always said, if you can come in and ask me a question, and they would always come in and apologize. I know you have this deadline. I know you have that. I know you got to get to it, but I really have this question. I'm like, come on in, let's sit down. Let's have a conversation regarding it, and just trying to not give them the answers, but trying to have them formulate they'll come up with the answers with my help. But really to get that critical thinking that I think is lost a lot nowadays, with the TikTok generation, as I like to call it, with the instant gratification generation. That critical thinking and that critical thought process, I think, has to a degree been lost. So trying to kind of get that back in a professional atmosphere and professional environment is something that I've tried to do, and I think that's really helped some of the junior staff members that I've worked with over the past 15 years.
Oh, I completely agree. I know. I'm just thinking too. We just did a new hire group just last week that started with Snow Horse, and one thing I have found is my bandwidth. I love helping my team, and so we've actually found a really good solve, which is we use Google Workspace. That's where we do most of our stuff, and we actually create these spaces, which are like chat rooms where you can put files and whatnot. And one challenge that we've had is a lot of the new people, they're just learning how to do icebreaker conversations to set appointments. What's the best way to do an icebreaker? And we used to do very long trainings where we would screen share and, just show the conversations. Let's read through the conversations. And we still do those meetings in the mornings and share successes. But we actually created this chat space where we're just screenshotting exactly every time I set an appointment or one of our more experienced members set an appointment, they're just screenshotting it and putting it in there. We give an opportunity for the whole team to celebrate, an appointment being set. But also it's the training, and literally, we're in the TikTok generation where they literally need to be told what to do, told what to say, told how to say it. And having that, just teaching people to have that A/B testing mentality. We were also training on cold calling this week, which is an art. It's a lost art form. A lot of people don't know how to build a conversation or speak to gatekeepers in a way that's constructive. And, just asking them the question of, why do you think, what word do you think would be best? How do you think phrasing this would be more effective? Put yourself in the space of the gatekeepers. We want to make sure we're meeting with quality clients. If someone's not a good fit, what are good questions we can ask? Because we don't want to waste their time. We don't want to waste our time. We want to be respectful of that. And I feel like I love having those conversations with my team, like you were just mentioning, just getting the gears going and thinking about what that looks like.
Exactly. I said giving them the tools for them to be able to do it themselves, but really relying on, as you said, the training and getting, the type of training that the younger generation of today that's just getting into the workforce really needs to be able to properly do their job, because it is so different. I mean, a lot of these, I call them kids. I'm not that old, but I still call them kids, are, they don't even know what cold calling means, and you have to, as you said, explain to them and help them come up with a script of what to say and how to phrase things a certain way. Because if you say something wrong and it may not be the wrong information, but you just didn't say it in the right way that the client is really looking for, they'll hang up on you. It's a very different world now than it was even, 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh yeah. No, I've worked in marketing and done sales for well over a decade at this point. I'm getting old, getting up in years. But it's changed so much. Like, it always just astounds me how much, and I'm so grateful I grew up through the change, because I saw how it used to be. So I understand the fundamentals. And I realize how important it is for me to teach those fundamentals for others. We actually have been able to do a really cool approach where we actually create a spreadsheet, like a checklist. Like, this is how you outreach people. This is what it should look like. And it's really helped them, because we're actually describing what it is. Hey, on this call, you want to create a personal connection with something about them, like a professional, like, what's a post that they like? What's something you appreciate about their website? Like, literally teaching people how to have conversations is such a big deal. And I think it's such a big part of leadership as well. Circling back to what you're saying is, you want to make sure that you're encouraging them to succeed, encouraging them for, I don't know how to explain this, and maybe I'll just totally put my foot in my mouth, but I feel like success comes through movement, right? The more that there's movement, whether you're talking marketing or you're talking sales or you're working with clients or you're literally just building out campaigns or whatever it may be, it's the movement that's creating the success. And I feel like so many people, they're just stuck, they're just stuck. And I feel like COVID amplified that, when people are literally stuck at home, and it's helping them get out of this mindset to be like, it's okay to move and interact. It's okay to fail, because you learn from it. That's something I personally have experienced.
Yeah, and especially, the failure comment. I think failure teaches you so much more than success does, because you do something and it's the first time you succeed, you think, okay, this is how it's really supposed to be done. You don't have anybody else's perspective on it. But if you fail and you can then take a deep dive and understand why you failed at whatever task you were trying to do, I think you just learn so much more from that failure than you would have if it was initially a success.
Oh, agreed, 100%. Well, and I know as we've been talking, we wanted to touch on like networking as well. And it is an important aspect of marketing. Like, many people, it also goes under the sales category. It can go also under the branding category. Like, networking is this thing. But what has your experience been with, how do you see that networking also is marketing, and how do you see those play together?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think marketing is necessarily networking. I do think that networking is a key aspect of marketing. Networking is, to me, is just kind of going out there and expanding your web as far as you can and meeting as many people as you can, and kind of just planting the seeds about who you are, what your business is, what you do. That's the networking aspect. I think marketing is much more in depth, as to where really getting to know the person or the people or the companies that you are looking to maybe try and get business from, to really understand what they do, what makes them work, and how you can best help them. What I found is that the best marketing method, at least in my industry, is to figure out what you can do to help them before you're looking for what will help you. And I think that will provide so many more, tangible results than just going out there and being like, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, what can you do for me? For me, I like to, I'm a huge golfer, so I like to go out and I'll be on the golf course for 4 days in a row if I had the opportunity to. Unfortunately, I can't do it. I'm not a professional. I don't get paid to do it. So, but I will go out and I will talk to somebody on a golf course. For me, that's a great way to network and to market, because you're stuck with somebody in a golf course for 4 to 4.5 hours, just kind of having fun and having conversations. And, you have your similar interest in playing golf. So that's how I love to network and really get the introductions out there. And then I like to kind of just hone in on it and find out, how many kids they have. Are they married? What do they like to do in their spare time? And kind of evolve that into the marketing aspect of really getting to know that client, or that other company that you're trying to do work with.
Yeah, I've often heard, this pertains to hiring, but I think it pertains to networking as well. But I forget who said it. A very successful businessman, one of the Shark Tanks. He's one of the sharks from Shark Tank. He said this. It was, when you hire people, you want to ask them about their hobbies, because you want to find people who have well-rounded lives. And now I know, I've worked in the sales world, I've worked in the marketing world. I know people who are hustlers, right? And they can go and bring in big money, big accounts. They can do it. But what I have found is the people who actually have very structured personal lives, and they actually know people on a personal level, like they bond over gardening or golfing or whatever it may be. They actually build higher quality relationships with potential clients, and they build higher quality, more long-term, gains. And they even those people are the people who they get inbound referrals from, And so I feel like there are two different approaches, and I'm not saying one is necessarily better than the other. They both work, but I feel like one is more fun than the other.
Yeah, as you said, I think those hustlers that go out there and can bring in that big business, yes, they can do that. I think that in terms of the longevity of a client, I think that can really suffer when you just have those people that are constantly just out there running around and just kind of grabbing that big business and bringing it in, as opposed to kind of generating a more organic relationship. Previous companies that I've worked for, where they really empowered the staff to go and do the marketing, all the staff from the field staff up to the C-level partners. It really was, they want you to go out there and get to know these people. And, that was something that was tough for me, because I'm not the most public of people. Like, I don't have social media. My wife has it, but I don't like to have my kids on social media. So I'm tend to be a more close-knit kind of person. I have a very close, small group of friends that we hang out all the time, but I'm not the most public person in the world. So that was something that was tough for me to try and let people in to know me while also trying to get to know them. But that kind of is the current, I want to say the flavor of the month, but that kind of is the way that marketing is nowadays, as to where they really want to get to know you before they are willing to do business with you.
Well, that's why branding is so big right now. It really is. And lead gen is huge. I know almost everything we've sold for the last 3 months has a lead gen package or LinkedIn attached to it, because it is huge right now, being able to have people know who you are and what you do, and just having the opportunity to fine tune your wording. I know myself, as I message people on LinkedIn or I do cold calling, it helps me be better at describing what I do or what I can do better. And so I feel like it's a two-way thing, and just that personal connection. I'm kind of like you. Like, I'm not really a social media person until recently. I've been really trying to branch out in that way. And I realized something I struggled with was letting people know me. I was fine. I'll get to know anyone, love everyone, right? Kind of person. But letting people get to know me, that's been a real big skill for me to learn, and I'm working on improving on.
Yep, same here.
Introverts unite. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your input and insight on these topics, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciated it. It was a lot of fun. My first experience with the podcast, so it definitely was a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations.